Hi friends, welcome to another video. And today I'd like to answer some questions involving the different version of skins you can get on the Xperia phones. So I've been asked this by some of my subscribers, what exactly are the differences in the experience of the skin that you have with different versions of Android. In this video I'm going to take a closer look at that, so stay tuned. So let's start with the phone that has the oldest software, quote-unquote, running at this moment, and that is the cheap Xperia L1, which you might recognize from my review that I did on it. I'll put up a link on top, so you can check that out if you want to check it out. A very interesting phone, I mentioned back then, and actually this phone is running on the oldest version of the Xperia UI, so that's Android 7.0. with also a pretty old security patch, so not all that up to date, but it is to be expected of a cheaper device in the cheapest low-end market. But it does pack some Xperia features. So one of the things you can actually do is double tap to sleep. So it has that, even though it has a MediaTek processor, which isn't that powerful. It does have that. It unfortunately does not have double tap to wake, so I have to wake it with the button. So that's a little difference that it does have, and it's pretty interesting because, as you may see later on, one of the more expensive, or actually all the new Xperia phones don't have either double tap to wake or double tap to sleep. Another nice feature that was introduced in Android 7.0 that is still manageable in this phone, that is the memory assistant. So what you can actually do is go to the advanced memory settings. You can check out what your phone is using. So you see this 16 gigabytes of storage is almost filled up. But what you can actually do is transfer data to the SD card on here. So if you have some apps, so we have some pretty big apps, probably updates, some pictures, but most importantly apps, which are almost 200 megabytes on here. We can simply transfer those to the memory card. And that is a very nice and welcome feature, especially if you have a phone like this one with not that much of internal memory, 16 gigabytes only. That is something you can do on here. So that's a pretty neat feature, and very nice that it's still available on this phone. And as you might see later with the Android 8 devices, they have eliminated this feature. I don't know if that's indefinitely or if it's coming back, but it is very interesting that it is not possible anymore on later iterations with all the Xperia devices running Android 8. So with that being said, let's look over at the Xperia Z5 Premium from 2015. This phone now runs the second oldest version of Android, and that is 7.1.1. As I can show you guys. So over here we see that it has Android 7.1.1. Hasn't really been updated with a lot of security patches, unfortunately. So that's I expected a little bit better, but I hear that there are some changes coming to this phone very shortly, and that they are going to do the patches. And it might also have to do that this is a dual SIM version of the Z5 Premium, so it's not really a Western version. So it doesn't get updates as fast as the Western models. That being said, I'd like to refer to this phone in this incarnation as the most pure and complete Sony experience. So that means it has features that we've come to expect from Sony phones that have disappeared from other newer phones. So like the L1, it still has the ability to put apps on the SD card. So if you go back to memory, let's just go storage. And here you can also see that we can put up a lot of apps on the SD card to save some memory internally. That's very nice. So that's one of those features that you get on the most pure version. But another feature also comes with multitasking, and that is the small apps. They are still present here in this iteration, and I find it a particularly nice feature because it enables you to multitask even further. So one of the nicest ones I think are mini YouTube player. You've got like a little Chrome shortcuts that you can actually put up anywhere. You've got a mini browser to search stuff on, memo keeper, translator, a lot of stuff that you can actually also get from the store. So the store will check out what kind of apps are related to this, and it's in a separate part of the App Store. And here you can see you can get like a clipboard, currency converter, another YouTube small app that you can use. So an easy shortcut to do screenshots, voiceover effects, flashlights. You still see that there's so many apps that are still being developed for this kind of platform that Sony isn't really bringing to any new Xperia phones. But if you have a Z5 or earlier, you can still enjoy these nice features. So let's just put one of them up. So this is the YouTube application, and it's just very chill because if I want to listen to somebody on the background, I can just do that, but I can minimize the movie on the background. So let's see if we just listen to Lou here.
With the way you move the camera,
So
it makes it
I can minimize
that
it,
I seem like I am lying.
and it's still doing everything
Well,
while I'm
tell
doing other stuff. I can even do some multitasking.
Xiaomi phone, the Black Shark. Why would you need
use
a
something
dedicated
else,
gaming
for
phone?
instance,
First off,
Facebook.
differentiation. It's becoming harder and harder for different brands
still
to
do
stand
that.
out. More difficult to encourage a customer to upgrade without
also
changing certain
here
aspects
have,
of the device.
the
PUBG Mobile
clear.
reached out to me and they said,
So
hey
that's
man,
very
we'd
nice.
love
Even
to
if
sponsor
I
an
lock the
episode. And
phone,
I said, well, I have the
it'll
perfect
just go on.
unboxing
So
for
this
you to
is one of the
sponsor
chillest
because I
things
need
if
a
I'm
game
watching
to
like
test
the
out with
Breakfast
this
Club
gaming
or
phone.
anything
This
like
one in
that,
front of
or
me is called the
one of those
Red
other talk
Magic.
shows.
So we saw the
I can
Razer
just keep
phone. It
listening
had the
and put the phone
120
in my
hertz
pocket,
display and probably the
and
best
it'll just
speakers
play
that
it on.
I've ever tried on a smartphone. But
And if I
that
want
was at a
to,
much different price point than the one that I've
resume,
got in
I
front
can
of me
just go
now.
back to the app, pause it,
$399.
I don't know, scroll to, or even if I have like a special music playlist here on YouTube, I can put it on, put it to sleep, and listen to it. So that is a very chill feature and something you won't really find on other phones, regardless if it's a Sony phone or not. So that's a very and sadly exclusive pre Android 8 feature of the Z5, because of course phones like the Xperia X and XZ also came out with Android 7, but all of those phones have eliminated this feature, and this feature is just so very nice. I think you can even do multiple small apps at once. So it just takes the multitasking that you can do, or that you're trying to do, takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, I can just put this over here. Yeah, I can actually do two on top of each other, plus do all the native multitasking features that you have on Android. So that's a very, very, very nice thing that you can do, and something that's unique to the Z5 line and older phones. And one of the features that I've been missing that I just showed on the other phone is double tap to sleep and double tap to wake. It's just a very convenient feature, and unfortunately, as of now, it's been removed from newer Xperia phones, which is still one of the reasons why I carry this phone with me, because those unique features are just very hard to live without. I mean, I put it on the table, I double tap it, I can check through all of my messages and everything. It's just very nice to have that available, and unfortunately, it's missing from the latest Xperia phones. So just to chime in a little bit and move a little bit forward, these are two of the latest Xperia phones you can get right now. The Xperia X from 2016 and the Xperia XZ1 Compact from last year. Excellent phones, especially in terms of speed and display and everything like that. It's just very, very nice devices, especially the Xperia X. Let me know, guys, if you guys want some extra coverages on this phone, because this phone has become very cheap, but it is still incredibly good and very well supported. So let's just go and check out what it's running on. It's running on Android 8, as you can see from some of the aesthetics. The system. So yeah, it's got Android 8.8, which is very nice to have. This one I believe is Android 8.8 as well. 8.0, sorry. Yeah, so it has the same software running on here. Let's just go the yeah, so Android 8.8 with April 1st security patch. I'm not sure which patch this one has, but we can check that out. Yeah, so April 2018, both of them. So they still need to get the May security patch, but relatively up to date. And the funny stuff is, this one has been running Android 8 natively out of the box. It was probably after the Google Pixel 2 the first one to have Android Oreo running on top of it. But unfortunately, they've really removed all of the double touch gestures that you can use. And the funny stuff is, with this device, they've actually kept most of those. So if I can just find a free spot for a second. I can actually double tap to make it sleep, double tap to wake it up. It's all here present, just like on the C5. So that's very nice. And the funny stuff is, this one came out with Android 6, then it went to Android 7, now it's got Android 8, and it's kept all of those gestures in the firmware. So unfortunately, it does not have the small apps here. You see the missing button. If I do that on the C5, you can see here, it's written in Dutch, but you can see small apps. So I can press that here. I cannot do that on here, unfortunately. So that's very nice that they've kept those gestures. The only thing that unfortunately both of them have knocked is the SD card feature. So they both have SD cards installed in them, only you cannot use the SD card anymore to put on some apps. So this one had the feature, but it's really been broken off. So if we do data to the SD card, we can do photos, videos, music, but we cannot do apps anymore. So that's very sad. And this one, of course, naturally not and having run Android 7 at all, does not have that feature natively. So if we go here, you can see also we cannot transfer app data to the SD card. You could just go to the SD card and see what's on it. But apart from that, unfortunately, we cannot transfer stuff. So those are the biggest differences that you can see around the firmware. So you can really see that the C5 in this one is still the purest form of Android. And the funny stuff is, this one is running behind on updates, but has a firmware that does allow you to use your memory more effectively by being able to transfer apps to the SD card. I think one of the last things I wanted to check out is the involvement of themes. So it's only a minor detail, but I've got these two phones running on the same firmware. But somehow this phone, the C5, has some deeper integrations with the themes as well. So that's very interesting, actually. So you used to have smaller thumbnails for the themes, but unfortunately they've changed it. It does have a more detailed look at the themes that you have installed. I'm just gonna check out which one I have installed on here, so I can match that for a second. So this one is matte black. And I've chosen this theme deliberately because this theme can showcase some of the differences. So interestingly, when I've enabled both of the themes on both of the phones, very nice looking theme by the way. It's called Matte Black, and I'm not sure who made it, but it's a very nice theme. Actually, let me just check that out for you guys. Yeah, so just to do you guys a favor, it's a matte black theme by Stark Studio, so very nice theme. As you can see, one of my favorites actually, just very nice iconography, you know, Facebook clock, just like your basic apps. And as I've got more apps on here, installed on here, I mean, look at the camera icon. You can actually see it with all the social media apps, Snapchat, Messenger, Instagram, Twitter, even Tweetcaster. Very nicely done. All the Google apps, I mean, Netflix. It just looks really awesome. And even some Dutch apps like the Dutch Railroad, Outlook. Very neatly done actually. Shazam, the gear from Samsung, even some games. It's very nice, so I could definitely recommend this theme. But about this theme, it seems that on the Z5 it's a little bit more complete, as the biggest difference that I've seen that is not present anymore at new Xperias is the theming of the keyboard. So you can see here that on here the keyboard is themed along with the rest of the phone, so that looks really nice, gives it an extra feel. And it's something I've seen with other brands a lot, particularly Huawei and HTC, Samsung with some other themes. That just looks really nice. So unfortunately that's not all true for the newer Xperias, and I think that has to do with another tip that I want to give you guys is the keyboard of Sony. It's a very nice keyboard actually. Does not come pre-installed anymore. Sometimes you can get it out of the store, sometimes you can't, and you just have to Google it. So sonykeyboard.apk, and you will find it on some mirror sites with links. But it's a very nice Android keyboard, very good with predictive text. And I guess you can theme it on your own if I'm correct. So you have something called, I think I was a little too fast there. There's something called keyword skins, so you can actually skin it if you like. I can do, for instance, a dark one, and that matches the theme maybe a little bit better, but not quite like the themed one that we get on the Xperia, which is again a pretty neat feat that it does come along with the Z5. So I know it wasn't that short, but again, in short, those are the key differences that you're gonna experience with different iterations of the Xperia UI skin. Let me know if you guys want some more coverage on it or on each of the individual phones. I think there's a pretty good case to go examine the Xperia X a little deeper, as it still has an excellent camera, nice speed, and a good battery. It's a little older, but the price has gone down a lot. So I think for a lot of people just looking for a cheap phone, Android phone with a nice experience, it's got a Snapdragon 650, so the predecessor of 660 that's becoming more popular now with the Nokia 7. Still performs very well, but also has a very nice battery life. So I think this might be one of the most interesting Xperias to get right now if you're on a budget. And obviously I will try to get my hands on the more advanced Xperias like the XZ2 and XZ2 Compact. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like that, or if you'd like a closer look at the new generations of cheaper Xperia phones like the X82. I've already done a video on the XA1 Plus, which is like kind of in between model, very interesting as well, as it has not yet been, let's say, succeeded. It's a very unique device on its own. It sits in between the normal XA1 and the XA1 Ultra, but it does have the fingerprint sensor, which, as you guys have seen in the new Xperia phones, has been removed. The fingerprint sensor on the side, they're on the back now. So if you like that old-fashioned Xperia design, especially that little boxy design, this is a little bit more rounded, then let me know if you guys want some extra coverage on the Xperia X or other devices. Like I said, I will work on getting some more devices to this channel, not only Sony phones. And look out for my life with iPhone impressions. So what's it like to have an iPhone 10, one of the most expensive phones around, and if I can still recommend it after more than half a year. And so guys, yeah man, just tag me in the comments if you want to know anything or want some extra coverage on any of the devices. I must say that the XZ1, I've had it available for a couple of months to use and stuff like that, but now it is being used by somebody else, so I can't do as extensive stuff that I would like to on it. So unfortunately, those who want to see like the YouTube endurance stuff, I can't do that at the moment. But I can certainly try with the newer phones. I mean, the XZ2 Compact is set to have an even better battery life than this one. So yeah, this has been the end for this video, and I'll see you guys again on my next video on this channel. And stay tuned for some more coverage to come. See you guys in my next video.